بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. My name is Mutaz Ilhaq. My email address is mutazilhaq@gmail.com. This is my second virtual lab that I create to test my networking knowledge, and it is the continuing to the one that I did maybe like 4 days ago or 5 days or 3 days ago. It's going to be, I'm going to talk about first about routing protocols. What the what are they, and what the mechanism behind them. I mean the logic behind them, and also I'm going to talk about what else. This the functionality like VLAN, and what is VLAN and stuff like that. So I created a topology here in GNS3. So right here, I did the basic configuration before I start this recording, which is like giving this, for example, router one right here. It's like we say show IB interface brief. The fastest internet is this is a subnet of right here, the subnet of 10.1.1.1.0 slash 24. Here the subnet is 10.2.2.0 slash 24. Here 10.3.3 and so on. So I didn't configure any routing protocol yet. So I just, as I said, so if I initiate the command show run, let's see the running the running configuration. It's I initiate the command no IP routing to make this router one and router two to make them a BC. So I give them a default gateway, which is I gave them a default gateway. Maybe I passed it. Let me. Was going so fast. So no IP routing is there. No IP domain lookup. Let me do show run pipe section IB default. Yeah, here is IB default gateway, which is 10.1.3. So this is, I believe this is 10.1.2 slash 24. Router 1, I mean. Router 2 is 10.1.1.4 slash 24. And the layer 3 switch, which is switch number 1, I gave the VLAN is the IP address of 10.1.1.3 slash 24, and I made it the default uh, default gateway to these two PCs, which is router 1 and router 2. So let's configure the routing protocol. Let's first um, try to ping from router 1 to router to the default gateway. So ping 10.1.1.3 success. Let's ping PC number 2, which is 10.1.1.4 success. Let's ping router 5 and see if we can ping it. I believe it is 10.1.1. Let me see the IP address of router 5. Router 5, where are you? Here's router 5. Show IP interface brief. And the fastest on it 0/0 had the IP of 10.2.2.2, and the fastest on it 0/1 got 10.3.3.1. So let's bring the fastest on it 0/0 of the switch number 1, which is layer red 3 switch. So Bing 10.2.2.1. Let's see if there's a bingable. If it's a bingable, yes, we have success. So let's bing the router 5 interface faster than 0/0. So it is 10.1, 10.2.2.2. It is not bingable. So we need a routing, either a static route or a routing protocol. So let's see if we can create. Let's see if the switch can ping it. Switch number 1. Ping 10.2.2.2 is pingable. So maybe it is coming from the source Ethernet fast. I think it's definitely it's coming from the source of 0/0. Let's make it if it's coming from VLAN 1. So let's ping 10.2.2. We say source. So source. We have plenty of option. Let's put the IP address of 10.1.1.3 and let's see if it's pingable. It's not. So let's see if it's 10. Let's see if it's coming. It's this is the IP address of the VLAN of the switch, but we can put. You see here, we can put VLAN, so it can be source VLAN. Let's see, and VLAN number 1, the source. it's not bingable. So I'm gonna give an example of how is the static routing. So I'm gonna say config conft ib route. This is the syntax for creating a static route. ib route. Let's see what the option. Destination ip address 10.2.2.2. Go to 10.2.2.1. It can be either the IP address or no, sorry, I made a mistake. Sorry. 10.2.2. Then we put the destination prefix mask, which is a subnet mask. So the subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. Then we put the IP address. It can be the fast Ethernet 0/0. Enter. Okay, I think I made a mistake. It's supposed to be the network itself. Let's I think I forgot the syntax of the command. Let's just see from the beginning what is the IP route. The command IP route, then destination prefix, destination prefix, which is I think the whole network, not the IP address. 10.2.2.0, then 255.255.255.0. I can put either the fast Ethernet or the IP address. So I can put 10.2.2.1. Enter. Ten dot two dot two dot one. This is this router. I think no. I think it's sorry. It gave me it says this router. So let's write with the fast Ethernet 0/0. Okay, took it. Now let's try the ping from VLAN number one, which is what wasn't working. It's not working. No, I made a no. It is. This is supposed to be IP route. It's supposed to be the subnet 10.1.1, like to reach 10.2.2.2, go to the next hub address. Let's look at the routing table of switch number one. So IP route. I forgot some of the logic. So it's okay. 10.2 is connected. 10.1 is connected. So let's look at the router 5. I think I made a mistake. I think router 5 show IP route. I have there is the you see is connected um, the 10.2.2.2 and 10.3.3.0. So it is there is no routing table for 10.1.1. So the router 5 doesn't know how to get to the subnet of 10.1.1.0. So I'm going to make conf t the syntax IP route 10.1.1.0 to get to that network. The subnet mask 255.255.255.0. Let's make the next hub address the next, so the forwarding router address or the next hub address for the static route. I can make it the fastest internet, the IP address of the fastest internet 0/0 of the layer 3 switch, which is switch number 1. So I'm going to say 10.2.2.1, enter. So now let's now see if there is a routing table, if there is a route in the routing table for the subnet 10.1.1.1. So show IP route in router 5. Okay, it says, so now let's ping BC number 1. Let's ping the VLAN number. Let's ping BC number 1, which is 10.1.1.2, I believe. Bingable. Let's ping BC number 4. Bingable. Let's ping the VLAN, which is 10.3, the VLAN 1. Bingable. So this is the logic behind I made a mistake at the beginning because it's been a while. The last time I studied I attended the CBT Nuggets courses. Um, it's been like 4 years, and I kind of I got some misunderstanding of some of the logic behind the routing, but I think now it's good. So now I'm gonna remove the static, the static routing, and I'm going to replace it with a dynamic routing. I'm going to start with RIP version 2, and let's show run pipe section IP route. Okay, here the IP route command. So I'm going to say conf t no, and I'm going to copy that right here. Okay, now I remove the static route. Now the IP route of the routing table is gone. From routing, from router, from the routing table. Let's replace it with the dynamic routing. So I'm gonna say, let's go to switch number 2, conf. Let's see the routing table of switch number 2, which is layer 3 switching. It knows about the only the connected. When there is no either static routing or dynamic routing protocol, the router gonna see only the uh, connected routes. So um, so let's go to config t router. I'm gonna first create the dynamic routing protocol, which is RIB, and you see here BGP, AIGRB, ISIS, OSPF RIB. So I'm gonna say RIB. Let's see what else it want. So just enter. So let's see what the command we have a lot. So I'm gonna choose version. You see the last one is version. Let's see version 1 and 2. So I'm gonna choose version 2. I'm gonna say no auto summary. The router will try to summarize the network to its default class uh, class routing. Like it's if it's like class A, it will summarize it like /8. If it's like class B, it will try to summarize it like /16. And if it's a class C, it will try to summarize it to /24. So I'm gonna say no auto summary. I want be able to see the real. I mean, if it is like classless, if it's like a subnetted IB, I want to see that. So I'm gonna say no auto summary. Enter. So I'm gonna say network. Let me see the IB, the do show IB interface brief. And it is the mechanism behind RIP is like it was, as I said, it is a distance vector protocol. It's like gossip. It will say to to all other routers, for example, like, hey, I know about 10.2.2.1, I mean 10.2.2.0/24. I know about 10.1.1.1.0/24. So then the other router will hear that. It's like getting a routing table update every, I believe it's like every 30 seconds. Don't quote me in that. It's been a while, but I think it's every 30 seconds. So it is will update its any router will update its routing table. So let's say network network number, which is 10.1.1.0. Enter. And also network dot 2.2.0, and we save that. Let's go to router 5 and do the same thing. So I'm gonna say config. Let's see the routing table. Yeah, it's here already. The routing table. Like, let's show IP route. So it's only direct connected. So let's run rib conft router rib version 2. The difference between rib version 1 and rib version 2, rib version 1 is a class full routing protocol. That means you cannot do there is no like revision 2 is a classless, and revision 1 is a class full routing protocol. Revision 1 is kind of old, so you cannot like, for example, class A, make it like class C, an IP address. I mean, it will not it will take just the class full IP address. It will not summarize it. So let's see do show IP interface brief, and I have that. So I'm gonna say network 10.2.2.0 and network dot 3.3.0. Now let's end that. Let's run through IP route. Let's see if it's router 5. Learn about the route for the subnet 10.1.1.0. So show IP route. Yes, it does. Look at the R, which is R stands for, if you look at it here, R stands for RIP. So it is uh, so it learned about that via the IP address of 10.2.2, the switch number 1. So you see here 120 and 1. 120 is the one is administrative. I believe the one is administrative distance, and the 120 is the 120. One is like the no, sorry, the 120 the administrative distance. The one is the hub or the metric. It's like the one is like one hub. The RIB uses hub, and this is a metric. So 120, the RIB is 120. The OSPF, I believe, is 90. The static routing, the administrative distance is 1. So it is the believability of a route. In you can say it like that. I mean, you can say it's as I say, is a believability of a route. So when the low is better. So when it's say the believability of the static routing, which is 1, so that means it's better. The connected, I believe, is 0, so it is the static is 1, RIB is 120, OSPF is 90, uh, OSPF is no, OSPF is 110, I think so. AIGRB is 90, and this is just so we can bring from the subnet 10.2.2.0 to 10.1.1.1. Let's prove it. Bing 10.1.1.2, which is router 1 from router 5, is bingable. So I'm going to remove the RIB and create and create the OSPF routing protocol. And the OSPF is a link state routing protocol, and it is all about areas like um, the main area is area 0, and it's like we divided the network in areas, and uh, the router in the edge of the area is called area border routers, and the routers in the inside the area is called the autonomous routers. Or it's been a while, sorry. So let's we can create, we can make this, we can make this we can make this router like router 6 and router 7, the area 0. Then we can make this area 1. This can be area 2. So it's easy also. It's like you say network such and such. So we can create the routing protocol, the OSPF for the whole. I mean this whole topology, and BIGRB the same thing. What else? Let me talk about this is the routing protocol, and it's as I said, the logic behind it is not that difficult, and I think I know the basic. So that's why I said I'm looking for a job to start from the beginning. I think I'm looking for I know how the basic, and it is as I say, it's been like 4 years since like I studied the networking, like the CBT nuggets classes, like how to configure the configuration, and but um, it's let's now talk about the VLANs and what is a VLAN. We can look at switch number one. Switch number one, and we can create. What is the VLAN? A VLAN is like segmenting the switch. We know the functionality of the switch is to connect computers together, like to create a LAN, local area network, like connect the computer in a LAN. So we use a switch, and the VLAN is like segmenting the switch. It's like cutting, like cutting the switch into many pieces logically. That what I meant. The ideology that I meant. So it's like segmenting the switch. We can say like VLAN number 10. The name is sales. The VLAN management, VLAN engineering, for example, can be VLAN number 20, name engineering, and so on. And the was the computer in one VLAN, they can talk to each other, but the computer from a different VLAN, like sales computer, if they want to talk to engineering VLAN, they have to have either a router on a stick or layer 3 routing. A layer 3 routing is much easier. You're gonna give the VLAN an IP address. For example, interface VLAN 10 IP address is such and such and such. As I said, this kind of the basic. What else? Also, let me talk about like router 6 and router 7. You see the connection here is a serial. That's like this can be PP, a dedicated circuit like T1 line, and we can the connection between router 6 and router 7, and we can use PPP or HDLC or frame relay, for example. Any one technology. So if we want to configure let's go to router 6 and 7. Here, router 6. So we go to config T. I believe we start with encapsulation. Encap. Let me see. Let's look at the syntax. The encapsulation or I believe we go to the interface. For example, interface serial 2/3. Let's see. I think is with the encapsulation. ABC. Yes, right here. Encapsulation. Set the encapsulation type of the interface. So we say. Encapsulation. So we choose either a frame relay, for example, or HDLC, or BPP, ATM, X25, which is kind of old. So we can configure frame relay. It's easy. We're just gonna use the encapsulation frame relay. Then we can say Uh, so is that we can say is the multi-link or encapsulation frame relay, and we give it a dulce, and it's not, as I say, I kind of a little bit forget about it, but so let's see if it's PPP. So we say encapsulation if it's like a dedicated circuit. So encapsulation P PPP enter. So we see what's here. So we say uh, I think we say IB without the command IB. Like if we wanna connect like the IP address of the other router, and the same thing we do with router 7. Um, it's uh, it's I don't think it's kind of difficult. I used to remember it very well, but now I kind of forgot it. But I'm gonna refresh my memory anyway. For it. This is kind of I know this is kind of the basic. There is no the basic of networking, but for the the for example the OSBF, we can go deep on it. Like we can I mean there is a the stub and total stub. I mean stub area, and that's as I said, I used to remember that very well, but now I kind of forgot it. And for example, the switch, there is a spanning tree protocol, which is like when you're doing a redundant between two or three switches, redundant line. So to avoid the loops, we use a spanning tree protocol. Uh, this the network is kind of huge field, and I love it. And I think, as I said, I'm not a liar. My talent is I have three talent. I think, and I think I love three. I have three. Um, I'm fascinated by three things. I love how try. I love writing poetry, or reading poetry. I love to play music, keyboard, and I like the networking. So thank you.